Good evening, everybody. Bonsoir. Buenas tardes. Welcome back to another yoga class with Sally. I'm just going to natter on for a little bit, as I did this morning at the beginning, just to wait for some people to come online and join the class. This evening, it's a yoga basics class, so it's a class for beginners. So it's going to be a nice, gentle-ish class. The focus of the class is joint mobility and stability. So we're going to be looking at asanas, at postures, that help to improve the mobility of our joints, but also help to strengthen the muscles that support our joints. I have my lovely mother joining us here this evening.
Evening.
Jenny. Hey Lisa, I can see that you're watching.
Oh, Lisa.
Yeah.
Hi, Lisa. Hi,
Okay, so my dad was meant to join us as well, but he's still busy. So maybe he'll join us for the class on Thursday morning. Lisa says she wishes she could join in, but she's still at work, but she's listening. Okay, so let's just. Oh, if you've got a belt, it'll be useful to have a belt. And of course, if you've got a mat, it's hey Charlotte, how are you? Good to see you. If you've got a mat, that's great. If you don't have a mat, then a carpeted bit of floor, a rug, a towel, something similar to that. Okay, so we're going to come to sit on our mat or on the floor. If you would like to sit on a cushion, as my mum is doing, then please do so. If you would like to sit with your legs crossed, that's fine. If you are not comfortable sitting with your legs crossed, then maybe you want to sit with them straight out in front of you. However you are comfortable. We're just going to start the session by taking a few moments to sit with our back straight and our eyes closed. And notice our breath, our natural breath. This is just going to start to calm and focus our minds. So at the moment, don't try to change your breathing pattern, just notice your breath. Notice your out breath. Notice your state of mind, how you're feeling this evening. Do so in a non-judgmental way. Don't judge how you're feeling. Just notice. It's very important at this time to stay very in touch with our emotions. To notice how we're feeling. to chant the Om sound 6 times. This is going to help and focus our minds and begin breath practice. So breathing in through your nose. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Okay, we're now going to practice pranayama, breathing practice. So we're going to remain seated with our back straight so that our abdomen is unrestricted. Close our eyes and breathe slowly and deeply in and out through our nose. Using our abdomen and our chest to completely fill our lungs. So as you inhale, your abdomen, your tummy should come right out. As your diaphragm pushes down, pushes your internal organs, your abdominal organs down and out. Let your chest expand. And then as you exhale, draw your abdomen, your belly right in, so your belly button is being drawn towards your spine. Let your chest contract. Slowly and deeply. As you exhale, imagine that you're releasing any tension, any anxiety, any stress that you are feeling. Let it go. remember this way of breathing if at this time, in these days when we're having to stay at home, you feel stressed or anxious. Remember, the first thing to do is always come back to your breath, to just sit and breathe slowly and deeply, filling your lungs with air, completely emptying your lungs of air, to calm your mind. Now, as we inhale, try to count to 6 in your mind. As you exhale, also count to 6. Slowly. And now add a breath hold in between your inhalation and your exhalation. So inhale, count to 6 slowly. Hold your breath. Count to 12. And then slowly exhale, trying to count to 6, and then repeat. Okay, and returning to normal breathing, your natural breath. Keeping your eyes closed, just noticing your natural breath. Now slowly opening your eyes. Okay, right. So that is the end of the pranayama, the breathing practice. Although, of course, we remain mindful of our breath and coordinate our movement with our breath throughout our asana practice as well, throughout our posture practice. So first of all, we're going to slowly come up to a standing position. Just give your legs time to wake up Okay, right. Let's begin this evening's session by having an all-over stretch. We're going to work from our head down to our feet. This series of stretches, I do the same at the beginning of every Yoga Basics class, okay? So if you take part in every class, you will start to learn the sequence of stretches that I do at the beginning of the class.
Just a sec.
Hang on a second, because my dad's iPad is making noises.
Working on that.
Siri thinks that I'm speaking.
Yes.
Yeah, Siri thinks that I'm speaking to. So I'm just going to put Siri out of the room for 2 seconds.
We've been joined by Gypsy.
Ah, okay. We have a new being with us now. We have Gypsy back with us again. She does like to join yoga. Okay, sorry about that, guys. So let's stand with our feet about hip distance apart, and we're going to start by stretching our neck. So look down to the floor as you exhale, tucking your chin down towards your chest as much as you can. And then inhaling, bringing your head back to look up at the ceiling, behind you if you can. Exhale, looking down to the floor. Inhaling, looking up. Keep on moving slowly with your breath. Exhale, look down. Inhale, look up. Okay, now bringing your head back to neutral so that you're looking forwards. We're now going to turn our head from side to side. So again, trying to move with your breath. This helps to unite our body and mind. So inhale and exhale, turn your head to the right, trying to look as far over your shoulder as you can, keeping your body facing forwards. Inhale back to the front and then exhale to the left. Inhale back to the front and exhale to your right. Keep on going slowly with your breath, inhaling to the front, exhale, turning. Notice any areas of stiffness, notice any asymmetry between the sides of your body. And now returning back to the front again. We're going to tilt our head from side to side. So again, moving with your breath. Exhaling, tilting your head. And start to the right side. Inhaling back to the center. Exhale to the left side. Inhale, center. Exhale, right again. Keep on going at your pace, slowly with your breath. Okay, and back to the center again. A couple of full head rolls now in each direction. So starting off by looking down at the floor, rolling your head around so your right ear comes towards your right shoulder, up to look at the ceiling, left ear to left shoulder, back down to the floor again. And then we're going to go back in the opposite direction, nice and slowly. Listening to all that creaking and cracking you can probably hear really loudly in your head. I can just imagine Charlotte's face right now, the same as every week when she's going, oh. Miss you, Charlotte. Okay, and once you've done a couple of times in each direction, then bring your head back to look forwards. Okay, now we're going to stretch our shoulders, get our shoulders moving. My mum's been busy all day, she's tired, bless her. Okay, now we're going to make big circles with our arms, really reaching out as much as we can in each direction. So as we're bringing our arms forward, really reach forward. As we're bringing them up, really reach up. As we're bringing them back, really reach right back as far as you can. Remember, this is a joint mobility and stability class. Let's get our joints moving. Again, try to coordinate your movement with your breath. Inhale your arms up. Exhale your arms down. And back the other way. Now we're bringing our arms forwards. Okay, good. Now give your arms a couple of swings, helicopters. And we're going to do different type of shoulder rotation. We're going to place our fingertips on our shoulders. And we're going to want to imagine that we're drawing circles with our elbows. We want to make those circles as big as we can, trying to join your elbows in the center as they come round to the front. And trying to match your breath with your movement as well. In yoga, we always inhale, we move, when we move body parts away from the floor, and as we exhale, we move body parts towards the floor. And back the other way. Good, and again, just give your arms a little bit of a shake, a bit of a swing. Loosen them off. So I was huffing and puffing coming from next to me. Okay, now placing your arms out in front of you, at about shoulder level. We're going to close off our hands to make a fist as tight as we can. And then we're going to open our fingers as wide as we can. Close, open, close, open. Keep on going at your own pace. But trying to make that fist as tight as you can. Trying to open your fingers as wide as you can. This is good, particularly if you've been gardening all day, which a lot of us here, well, not me, but my mum, here in the Shrunk, because the weather is beautiful and there's lots to do in the garden this time of year, of course. Okay, now we're going to flex our wrists up and down, moving our hands up and down. Oh, I heard that thing. Okay, now making a fist with both hands. We're going to rotate our fists both in the same direction. You have to really concentrate to do this because they want to go in the opposite direction to each other. So just concentrating on making them move in the same direction. Okay. And now let them mirror each other, just like they want to do. And back the other way, a few times in each direction. And then just give your arms a little bit of shake. It really makes your arms ache to hold them out like that. So just give them a bit of a shake out. Okay, swaying palm tree pose. Let's stretch our shoulders and side body. So, interlocking your fingers and come closer to the camera and show you how I am doing this. Interlock your fingers. Push your palms up to the ceiling so that your arms are straight, and hopefully, if you can, so that your arms are touching your ears. We're going to look up to the ceiling. And then we're going to inhale and exhale, lean to the right side. Keeping your arms straight, keeping your arms touching your ears and looking up at the ceiling. Inhale, reach right up. Exhale to the left. Remember, keep those arms straight. Don't let this happen so that your lower arm is coming down away from your ear. Keep them straight. Inhale, reach right up. We're going to go once more to each side. Exhale to the right. Remember to engage your thigh muscles to keep your lower body steady. Inhale, reach right up. Exhale to the left. Inhale, reach right up, and then exhale. Your arms down. Good. Okay, hip rotations. Let's get those hips moving. So coming to stand with your feet about the width of your mat, about the width of a yoga mat, if you don't have one, is just a couple of feet apart. Toes pointing slightly out, hands on your hips. We're going to make big circles with our hips, keeping our legs straight. Get those hips moving. And back in the other direction. Good. Okay, bringing your feet back together. We're going to bend forward, place our hands over our knees. And we're going to make knee rotations. Okay, so bending your knees, bringing your knees in line with your toes as you come forwards, and then straightening up your legs. Making big circles. Okay, so this is obviously getting our knees moving, our ankles moving. Okay, and back the other way. Brilliant. Right, standing up again. Now we're going to come up onto our tiptoes. We're going to inhale, come up to stand as tall as we can. Your feet should be about hip distance apart. Really engage all your core muscles to hold you steady. And then come back down onto your full foot again. Lift up your toes away from that, leaving the rest of your foot on the floor. And then inhale, come up again onto your tiptoes. Try to hold. And then coming back down as we exhale, lifting your toes again. Once more. Inhale, come up. Hold. And exhale. Okay, next we're just going to do some ankle rotations. So making sure that your left foot is facing forwards. We're going to bring our right foot just slightly off of the floor and pretend that we're drawing circles with our big toe. Get your ankles moving. Try to make those circles as big as you can, as well as strengthening your muscles in your ankles, making them more flexible is also very good for circulation. If anybody gets swollen ankles, really good to get them moving in this way. Okay, let's stand on the right foot. Bring the left foot out slightly in front of us. Again, making big circles. Back the other way. Good, brilliant. Okay, now coming to stand at the top of your mat, or if you don't have a mat, standing so that you've got enough space for the length of your body behind you. We're going to come into a forward fold, and then we're going to walk our feet back into downwards facing dog. So first of all, standing in Tadasana mountain pose, feet about hip distance apart. Inhale, raise your arms up, keeping them parallel about shoulder distance apart, slight back bend. And now exhale, reaching forwards, looking forwards. Bending your knees if you need to so that you can maintain a flat back without rounding your back. You can bring your fingertips down to the mat either side of your feet. I'm just going to turn to the side so you can see that I am folded in two. We don't want to round in two, folded in two. Okay, and then we're going to walk our feet back into the upwards facing V position, downwards facing dog. So let me just turn quickly to the side so you can see the position more clearly. So your arms are straight, about shoulder width apart. Your head is coming down in between your arms so that you can look up towards your belly button. Your heels are coming down towards the mat while your bottom is coming up towards the ceiling. Good. Okay, and now slowly lowering your knees down to the mat, coming into tabletop position. So in tabletop position, we want to look like a table. So our hands are going to be directly underneath our shoulders. Spread the fingers on your hands so you've got a nice stable base. Your knees should be about hip distance apart, so they're directly underneath your hips. If you do have any problems with your wrists, then, and it feels painful to have your hands directly underneath your shoulders, you can bring your hands a little bit further forward and that will take direct pressure off of your wrist. We're going to practice an asana called cat-cow. So I'm just going to turn to the side so you can see what I'm doing more clearly. So from tabletop position, I'm going to inhale and I'm going to exhale and round my back up towards the ceiling, tucking my head underneath. Oh yes, my mum is doing her own version. I'll tell you about that in a minute. So rounding your back up towards the ceiling, looking underneath at your belly button.
Inhaling, now looking up towards the ceiling, dipping your belly down towards the floor and raising your sit bones. That's the cow. Stretch. Exhale, back to cat. Inhale to cow. Keep on going at your pace with your breath, slow movement, slow breath. So let me just explain a little bit why my mum is doing a different move. Okay, so my mum has slight kyphosis, slight rounding here of the thoracic spine. And so we're trying to correct that, and what we don't want to do is we don't want to make that more pronounced with our movement. So if she's curving her back like this, that's making that position of her spine more pronounced. We want to go back the other way, so she's actually, as she exhales, she comes back into child's pose, and then she inhales and then comes to cow pose. So if anybody has similar curvature of the spine, then this is an alternative way that they can do cat-cow. Okay then, right. Now coming back to tabletop position, we're going to come and sit with our legs straight out in front of us. And we're going to practice half butterfly, which is going to help to stretch our knee, our hip and our ankle. So we're going to bend our right leg and we're going to bring our right foot onto our left thigh if we can, okay? So if you can do this, this is what we want to do. If you find that difficult, if you're very stiff in your hip or in your knee, you can bring the sole of your right foot onto the inside of your left thigh. Either way, we're going to support the right foot with our left hand. We're going to take our right hand and we're going to place it over our knee. And we're going to inhale, gently pull our knee up. Exhale, push the knee down towards the floor. I say gently, we don't want to put a lot of pressure on the knee, just gently push. Inhale up, exhale down. Just keep on going at your own pace. Good, okay, and now changing legs, so straightening your right leg and bending your left leg. Now notice any differences between the size of your body here, any asymmetries. It's quite common that people have one hip that is tighter than the other hip, one knee that is less mobile than the other knee. Inhale, exhale down, inhale up. Exhale down. Excellent. Okay, now coming into butterfly position. For butterfly position, we're going to bring the soles of our feet together. And we're going to try to bring our knees down towards the floor. So your feet might not be quite so close into your body as mine, that's fine. It might be further forwards, your knees might be higher up, that's okay. Just as long as you feel that stretch. And we're going to try to hold on around our feet, so interlocking our fingers underneath our feet and sitting up as tall as we can with a straight back. If you find that difficult, hold on around your ankles and again, still try to sit up nice and tall. Good. Okay, straightening your legs out, give them a little bit of a shake. Okay, and we're going to come up to a standing position again. So the idea now behind the asanas that we're going to practice for the next half an hour is that they are going to get our joints moving, stretching the muscles that support our joints, but also we're going to be building strength in the muscles that support our joints. Okay, so our joints in themselves are not strong. It's the muscles that support the joints that are strong. Quite often, knee problems come from having weak quadricep muscles, thigh muscles, because if your thigh muscles are weak, they don't support the knee properly, and that's when you get problems in the joint. The other muscle that when it's weak causes problems in the knee is actually your bottom muscles. Weak bottom muscles also can cause problems at the knee because our gluteus maximus helps to keep our thigh bone turned slightly out in the correct position. If you place your hand on your bottom now and you turn your foot out to the side and you turn it back in again, you will feel your bottom muscles working to achieve that movement. So that, for example, so our bottom muscles, our quadricep muscles, very important for supporting the knee. Our shoulder muscles, obviously very important for supporting the shoulder joint, and our hip flexors, our lower back muscles, our abdominal muscles, very important for supporting the hips. So we really want to look at the muscles that support our joints. But first of all, let's just get our joints moving a little bit. Let's start with getting our knees, ankles and hips moving. We're just going to do some marching on the spot. So try to bring your knee up as high as you can, tucking your thigh right in to your abdomen. So try to bring your knee as high as you can. Try to go as fast as you can. Let's just get moving. Good. Now we're going to rotate the hip out. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring our knee up and then out to the side and then lower your foot back down to the floor. And again. So that's 3 times. 5 times. Let's do one more. 6 times. With the other leg. So also, while we're doing this, just notice what muscles are engaging when you do it. You will feel that your core muscles are really engaging as you're doing this to help to keep you steady. So it's good for, as well as stretching your hip, getting your knee moving, it's also good for strengthening your core muscles. Lost count now. Can do one more. You've done one. Okay, now we're going to adduct our hips. So we're going to move our leg away from the midline. So standing on your left foot, we're going to inhale and bring our right leg out to the side. And then we're going to exhale, lower it. I'm going to do 5 times with this leg. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. 2 more. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Good. The same with the other leg. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, Notice again the muscles that are engaging to help you do this. All your core muscles are engaging. Your thigh muscle is really engaging on the leg that's helping to keep you steady. So while we're doing these stretches, we are getting our joints moving, but we're also helping to strengthen the muscles that are supporting our joints. Okay, right, my mother's going to love me for this next one. Okay, so we're going to do some squats now. We're going to bring our feet about the width of the mat with our toes pointing slightly out. We're going to bring our hands together in prayer position at our heart center. And we're just going to start off by gently squatting, exhaling, coming down, inhaling, coming up. And again, exhale down, inhale up, exhale down, inhale up. Just keep on going at your pace with your breath. Slow movement, slow breath. Exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale. So again, as well as getting our hips moving, our knees moving, our ankles moving also, we're really helping to strengthen our quadricep muscles, strengthen our ankle muscles. Also, by having our hands in prayer position here at our heart center, we're helping to stretch the muscles in our wrist to prevent them from becoming stiff. Okay, right now, I'm going to release our hands, just give them a bit of a shake out. Now we're going to see how far we can come down into the squat, just nice and slowly. Have your arms just slightly forwards. And we're just going to slowly bend our knees. If you're a lady, just imagine you're going for a wee in the woods. Yeah. And just see how low, just gently.
My back's straight though.
You don't need to keep your back straight, so you might need to counter your weights to lean slightly forwards. Good. Just see how low you can go.
Keeping feet flat.
Yeah, try to keep your feet flat. If you need to come up slightly onto your toes, then you can come slightly up onto your toes. I'll show you what you can do to help you initially with a squat. It's easier to have your heels up slightly, so what you can do is you can just place a folded blanket or something similar underneath your heels to support your heels a little bit. Very good. And then just try to see if you can bring your... Very good. I'm impressed, Mother. Very impressed.
I can get down.
You can't get back up again. But, I mean, you will see in Asian countries, you will see people in their 70s, 80s, they still can quite comfortably sit for quite long periods of time in this squatting position. Okay, it's not because you're older that you can't do it, it's just because you never do it. So the more you practice, the more you will be able to do that. You can also, if you have a block or a thick book or something available, that's the phone, 2 seconds. I'm just going to chuck that out to my dad. Hello. I will just pass you over to him. Sorry about that, guys. That's teaching yoga at home. Okay, so yeah, so we can have also, if you have a block or something like this is a yoga block, but if you have a thick book or something like that, Do you think you can squat back down again, slowly? I'm behind you, I've got you.
I did that without my...
There we go. Okay, so you can use that block to help take the pressure off of your hips a little bit. Okay, but you're still getting the stretch in those muscles that you need to come into the squat. Okay, very good. Okay, now we're going to come and take a wide stance. So if you're on a yoga mat, come and face the side of your yoga mat. Bring your feet about 3 to 4 feet apart, with your toes ever so slightly turned in, ever so slightly pigeon-toed. We're going to bring our hands together behind our back. So I'm just going to come in closer and show you how I'm doing that. Okay, I'm interlocking my hands, interlocking my fingers like this and bringing my palms together. Now we're going to fold forwards and lead with our chest. We're going to exhale as we fold forwards, and we're going to bring our arms up out behind us, but we want to try to keep the palms together. So as soon as you feel your palms coming apart, then just stop there. Okay, so that might mean that you're just in this kind of position. That's absolutely fine. You should still feel quite an intense stretch across your chest and in your shoulders. Remember to breathe slowly and deeply. Inhale, coming back up again. Gypsy, be quiet. Okay, Gypsy, no, get down, get down. Sorry about that, guys. Gypsy. No. Okay, now releasing your hands, giving your arms a little bit of a shake. Now we're going to come and just stand into Tadasana, mountain goat. Gypsy, no. No. As you can see, I really have a lot of control over my dog. She really listens to me. Okay, so let's just stand for a few moments in Tadasana, mountain pose, and take a few deep breaths. Next, we're going to practice a pose called awkward chair pose. This is really good for strengthening our quadricep muscles, strengthening our ankle muscles, and our lower back muscles as well. All very important muscles in supporting our joints. Also helps to stretch and strengthen our shoulders. So I'm just going to turn to the side a moment so you can see what I'm doing more clearly. Now the full expression of chair pose is when we have our arms up overhead, palms together, and we sink down into the chair, keeping our fingertips reaching up towards the ceiling as we're sinking down with our thighs. However, that can put quite a lot of pressure on your shoulders. If you don't have flexible shoulders, that would be really difficult. Okay, so we've got a couple of different options. You can either have your arms straight up overhead, about shoulder width apart. So your arms are parallel with each other, your palms are facing each other. Now that's still, if you have tight shoulder muscles, you're going to maybe still find that difficult. So what we can do is we can have our arms out slightly in front of us like this, okay? So again, your arms are shoulder width apart and parallel with each other. Your palms are facing each other, but they're slightly out in front of us. Now, what you want to do though is, if you are having your arms in that position, is as we sink down into our imaginary chair, we want to keep our arms at that position. So what we want to avoid doing is this. We want to lower into our imaginary chair, keeping our arms in the same position. So when you feel your arms starting to come forwards, that's where you want to stop. We want to either be looking up towards our thumbs if we've got our palms together. If we've got our hands apart, we want to look to the space in between our palms. So you can see here probably, yeah, that my mum is better to have her arms slightly out in front of her, like that. And then she's going to sink down, bending underneath. That's fine, that's fine. Good,
It
good.
really hurts everywhere.
So just do it slightly. Just have your arms out in front of you. Just bend your knees slightly. Look towards that space in between your hands.
It really hurts here.
Yeah, in your shins. Yeah, because you're really engaging these muscles here as well.
And my arms and my
Yeah,
back.
it just hurts everywhere. Everywhere. Mum hates chair pose, but it is really good for strengthening your
I'm
muscles.
sure.
Okay, so let's just try that one more time. Exhale. Inhale and exhale your arms down. Really good. Okay, right now, as I've been saying, to have healthy joints, we should have strong supporting muscles. Are really good asanas to help strengthen your leg muscles are the warrior poses. And we're going to practice warrior 2 now. It's also good for stretching your upper back and chest and the muscles supporting your shoulders. So if you're on a yoga mat, we're going to come and face the side of the yoga mat, and we're going to bring our feet apart, about 3 to 4 feet apart, depending on the flexibility of your hips. Now, you should feel a little bit of a stretch here in your groin, in your adductor muscles here. If you don't, you can bring your feet slightly further apart. I'm just going to face to the side here so you can see what I am doing. Now your toes should be ever so slightly turned in, ever so slightly pigeon-toed. And we're going to start by turning out our right foot to the top of the mat. So now your right foot is 90 degrees away from facing away from your left foot. And the heel of your right foot should be roughly in line with the arch of your left foot. Your hips should still be facing to the side. And we're going to bend now our right knee so that it comes in line with our ankle. What we want to avoid is our knee tracking in like this. It should be over our ankle. Also, what we want to avoid is this, so that my knee is coming over my ankle. That puts your ankle and your knee in a very weak position. If that is happening, you can move your left foot back a little bit and come deeper into the stretch. You'll really feel your thigh muscles and your calf muscles engaging to hold you in this position. Now we're going to inhale our arms up to about shoulder level. And we're going to look towards the fingertips on our right hand. Now with your arms, imagine that someone is pulling you by your left fingertips, someone's pulling you by your right fingertips, and they're pulling your arms apart. So that means when you do that, you're opening up your chest and your upper back. And hold and breathe. Okay, now exhale, lower your arms, inhale, straighten your knee, and now we're going to change foot position. So now we're turning our right foot back to face the side of the mat, and we're turning our left foot out to face the top of the mat. Again, just check your foot positioning, check that your left heel is roughly in line with the arch of your right foot. And bend your left knee so it comes in line with your ankle. Inhale your arms up. Again, reach out as far as you can in each direction. Look towards your left fingertips. Really feel those leg muscles working to help keep you steady. Exhale your arms down. Inhale, straighten your knee, and turning your foot back to face the side of the mat. Just bring your feet together for a few moments. We're just going to stand into Tadasana Mountain Pose. Take a few deep breaths. Okay, now you come into a high lunge. So a high lunge, we're going to have our right foot forwards, our left foot back. We're going to come up onto the toes of our back foot, and we're going to bend our front knee. Now again, your knee should be over your ankle rather than forward. So you can see what we don't want is we don't want this so that my knee is much further forward than my ankle. That creates a weak position. We want to have the knee over the ankle. So adjust your body position accordingly. We should feel a really intense stretch here in our hip flexor, which attaches our pelvis to our thigh. So now we're going to inhale and raise our arms above our head, keeping your arms apart, about shoulder width apart, palms facing each other, and look up to the space between your palms again. Let me just face sideways so you can see more clearly the position I'm in. With your fingertips, reach right up to the ceiling. With your legs, sink into the lunge. And inhale, straighten up. Exhale, lower your arms.
I did it for a long time.
You did. Okay, now we're going to practice the same thing on the other side. So now left foot forwards, right foot back. Again, coming up onto the toes of your back foot, bending your front knee, leaning into the lunge, adjusting your back foot as necessary so that your knee is over your ankle. Inhale your arms up, look up. Reach up with your fingertips, sink low into the lunge with your lower body. Good. And relax. Okay. Right, now we're coming towards the end of the session. You'll be pleased to know it's coming towards your favourite asana, Savasana. So we're going to come down to the mat, and we're just going to practice the half splits. So if you are on quite a hard floor like us, we're just got a yoga mat over a tiled floor, you might want to bring up like a folded blanket or something just to kneel on. so you help to support your knee. So we're going to start off by standing on both knees. Here we go. My mum is just placing a folded blanket underneath her knees to help to knees. So standing with your knees about hip distance apart. We're going to bring one leg, let's start with our right leg, forwards. And we're going to come up onto the heel and have the leg straight. Okay, and then if we can, we're just going to lean forward, place our hands either side of the mat, trying to keep your legs straight as possible. If you do have a slight bend in the knee, that's okay. What we want to avoid doing is putting the knee into hyperextension so that the back of the knee is almost is coming out. That's not good for your knee joint. So just be careful that you don't do that. If you have a slight bend in your knee, that's fine, as long as you feel that intense stretch. Yes, my mother's nodding. That intense stretch down the back of your leg.
Yes.
Okay, now of course the interesting thing from this position is getting back up again. Now the best way to do that is to bring your right hand onto the inside of your leg, and then you can swing the leg, but just like that, swing your leg back. And now we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So now we're going to bring our left leg forwards, up onto the heel, leg as straight as you can, slowly lean forwards, place your fingertips on the floor either side of your leg. If you can, try to keep a straight back, flat back, try not to round too much, particularly your lower back. You alright?
Day in the garden, this is all I know.
It's good after day in the garden. It's
Yeah.
a good stretch, otherwise you feel stiff. Okay, now bringing your left hand onto the inside of your left leg. Now swinging your leg back. Good. Okay, right, now we are really coming nearly towards Savasana. So we're going to come and lay on our backs. We're going to do a couple more asanas before we actually come into the Savasana, but they're on our backs, you will be pleased to hear. Okay, so we're going to practice an asana called reclining pigeon, which is going to stretch the outside of our hip here. So laying on your back with your knees bent. We're going to leave our left foot on the floor. Right ankle over left thigh, just above the knee. Now, I hope you can see what I'm doing here. I'm going to try and explain it as clearly as I can. Right there. Okay. Now, I'm going to take my right arm and I'm going to feed it through the hole created by my two thighs. I'm going to lift my left foot off the floor and I'm going to grasp around the back of my left thigh and pull my left thigh in towards my body, and I'm going to try and have my head on the floor. Now you should, if you're doing it correctly, feel quite an intense stretch here in the outer right hip. If you find this difficult, you can feed a belt through around the back of your left thigh and hold onto the belt. Okay, and release your hands and lower your foot back down to the floor. Uncross your legs and cross them back the other way. So now our right foot is on the floor, our left ankle is crossed over our right thigh just above the knee. Feed your left arm through the hole created by your two thighs. Clasp your hands, your fingers together behind your right thigh. Bring your head back down to the mat and gently pull your right thigh in towards Okay, and releasing your hands, slowly lowering your right foot back down to the mat. And now, two last asanas. We're going to bring our arms out to the side at about shoulder level, just making sure that we are not going to bash into each other. I'm going to come a little bit further forwards. We're going to practice an asana called revolved abdomen. Inhale and bring your knees in towards your chest. Exhale your knees towards the floor on your right side, turning your head to look at your left hand, trying to keep your shoulders on the floor. Inhale back to the center. Exhale your knees to the floor on the left side, turning your head to look at your right hand. Again, trying to keep your shoulders on the floor. Inhale back to the center. And now keeping your knees in towards your chest, hug your arms around your knee. First, bring our towards our knees as we can. And now we're going to exhale, lower our head to the floor, keep our knees pulled in towards our chest. And if we want to, we can rock just from side to side gently to massage our spine. Okay, and now we've reached the end of asana practice. We are now going to relax in Savasana, corpse pose. We're going to have about 10 minutes in Savasana. So if you would like to put a jumper on, if you would like to put socks on, a blanket over you, anything, something to support the back of your head, then make yourself warm and comfortable. I'm just going to put some socks on to keep my feet warm.
A little fire.
Yeah. Okay, so we should always finish our asana practice with Savasana. This helps to integrate the effect of our practice. It's our relaxation time, our adult nap time. So we lay out on the floor with our feet slightly apart, coming towards the corners of our mat. Just relax your feet, let your toes hang out. Our arms should be out slightly away from our body with the palms facing up towards the ceiling. Start by doing a scan of your body. Make sure you're not holding any tension anywhere in your body. Just completely relax. Feel the weight of your body on the floor. Notice every part of your body that's in contact with the floor. Relax your face, relax your jaw, relax your tongue. Breathe slowly and deeply and relax. attention back to the room, back to your body. Start to move your fingers and your toes. Take deep breaths. Bring your legs together. Reach your arms up overhead and pointing your toes, stretch your whole body, making your body as long as you can. And now relaxing your arms, bending your knees. Roll slowly, keeping your eyes closed over to one side. And remain here for a few moments. And now using the palm of your hand to push yourself slowly up to a seated position. We've just got about 5 minutes for meditation, so just sitting comfortably. If you would like to sit on a cushion, then please do so. You don't have to sit cross-legged, sit however you feel comfortable. Try to sit with your back straight, close your eyes or just cast your gaze down at the floor in front of you. Focus on your breath. Notice your in-breath, your out-breath. Every time thought enters your mind, just notice it, let it go, and return your attention to your breath. chanting Om 6 times, followed by Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, peace, peace. Shanti, Shanti.
Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you for anyone who joined this session. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope that you have a good evening. If you're off now to eat your dinner, then bon appetit. I hope you enjoy your meal and take care of yourselves. Stay safe and sane. Keep on supporting each other. And I will see you again on Wednesday evening. On Wednesday evening, there'll be another improvers class, a flow yoga class at 6 o'clock in the evening French time. And then on Thursday morning at 10:30 a.m. French time, then there will be another yoga basics class. Okay, much love, everybody. Take care of yourselves. Bye.